I wanted to do a quick rune pull for this full moon in Capricorn. It's our second full moon in Cap this year, which makes it kind of like a blue moon, which just means it's unique in its sign. I was meditating this morning for a couple minutes, and there's something that came through for me as a message. And I know I've already done a full moon in Cap reading for this weekend, but it's about being in your toxic feminine. And it was almost like a little bit of a warning of, in this second full moon in Capricorn, it is in a degree that was in the same degree 16 years ago. And so it's asking you, in the past 16 years, how have you evolved? What's transpired? Where is your growth, right? And the last time I did a reading, I had pulled a bunch of cards that represented stagnancy. And I thought that was really fascinating because I knew it was like for, a couple people or one person in particular, but this reading and this meditation in particular was about stagnancy, but it was specifically around the divine feminine and the toxic side of it. So we all have divine feminine and divine masculine, right? And it is not gender expression, it is our energy. And so when you're in your divine feminine, it means that you're abundant, intuitive. It means that you bring things to you, that you don't doubt things. It means that you are deconditioned fully in your intuition, which is your higher self, your inner child, and that you're fully embodied, right? And then when you're in your masculine, your divine masculine energy, it is that you are taking control, you're a good leader, it's like you navigate with confidence, all of those things. But there's also what people don't so much talk about is like the shadow or toxic side of those energies. So if I were to break down masculine, because we're gonna be fully ending on the feminine toxic side for this reading, is being in your toxic masculine is a lot of what we're seeing, play out in politics right now, which is just a lot of, buffoonery. It's a lot of abuse of power, threatening anyone who is in the way of their power. And it's also being like not healed. So it's like avoidant attachment, emotional detachment from everything, withdrawal, like that kind of thing. It's that kind of energy where you try to control a situation by either abuse of power or you remove emotion, knowing that people will need that, energy. Being in your toxic feminine or your shadow feminine side is all about victim mentality, procrastination, emotional manipulation. It's all of those energies that we do. It's like anxious, attachment, and that way of like kind of grabbing at people. And it's something that I've been seeing playing out in the past couple days since my last reading. And I wanted to just talk to it. So the message that came to me this morning was avoid being in your toxic feminine. And what that means is we're supposed to be doing the work right now, right? We're supposed to be doing all the shadow work and either giving ourselves the credit of doing all the work from the past 16 years in this full moon in Capricorn, or and this is what this reading is about specifically, this is why I chose the runes, because they're going to lend themselves to it. But it's almost like sitting in your trauma and sitting in your, the lesson that that you're meant to close during this time period. You're hanging on to it because it's either a coping mechanism or it is something that it makes you feel better. It's almost like sometimes people will wrap themselves all up in their trauma and then they'll kind of throw it and wipe it all over other people, just to say, I'm a hurt person. And it's like, we all know, like, hurt people, like that kind of thing. But this, and now we're in like, the sun is in Leo, which I hate Leo season, but that's like, I'm a Pisces, so Leo's like the opposite energy of mine. And so it's not my favorite season because everyone's just too much for me. But it is about us coming into the fun, sunny side of ourselves. Anyway, I digress. This full moon in Capricorn, specifically this message is about do not fall back into your toxic coping mechanisms. Do not use your traumas as an excuse to hurt or unleash on other people. Hold healthy boundaries, watch yourself, and don't fall back on your own excuses. Clean up your side of the street, as they say. So I wanted to pull runes around it because I will say this, it's a bit of a booty slap, but I think that whoever needs to hear it needs to hear it. can't make this up. So Naughties, I don't know if you can see, there we go. Naughties is all about constraint. It's holding yourself back. It quite literally means in present energy is that whatever is holding you back, it's almost like if you look behind yourself and you're like, oh, you know, like all these things are holding me back. You look behind, there's like nobody there. You got to look in the mirror, right? This reading is all about what is holding you back. Stop making excuses. Your challenge position. Ooh, this is good. Hagalaz. This rune specifically is the equivalent of the Tower rune. It is basically telling you to strip away and dismantle every single, this is specific, coping mechanism that you have around your toxic feminine. You know, a lot of people that I talk to that are in their healing journey, and to be honest with you, if we're doing it right, we all are, and we're in therapy too. But if we're in our healing journey, sometimes we have to take a look at our moral and value system, and we have to say, what is working, what is outdated, what do I need to move towards? And sometimes we have to look at the very strong foundation that our parents or grandparents or society told us to build. And a lot of us a lot of them tell us like, hey, you have to build a solid concrete foundation. It is to build a solid life. Like sometimes people think that raising their kids in organized religion or, you know, having structured families or heteronormative, you know, narratives, that they keep their kids contained in this very whitewashed version of what the world really is. And the kid goes out into the world and they see, wow, like, you know, this is, if they can travel outside of their zip code, they'll say, wow, there's a whole big world out there and there's a lot of people who don't live like me, right? And they start to realize that solid foundation is crumbling and they need to build a new one. And sometimes you need to take a jackhammer to that foundation and think of bamboo, right? And it's like I always tell people, take the foundation that's made out of concrete, blow it up, build something out of bamboo, because bamboo is just as strong, it's flexible. And when you take the different pieces, like say if this is like interwoven bamboo, if you take this piece out, or if you take this piece out, there's still gonna be pieces there to support it, you know, as your moral and value systems change. But Hagalaz is actually telling you, do the work. And it's almost like if you were to rip apart your foundation on how you're coping through all of the things that define you and your trauma, that you'd actually come out on the other side okay. And I like this because the outcome is Fehu. It's divine self-worth, but it's around your divine masculine expression. So in order to have a divine feminine and divine masculine, like healthy interaction or healthy percentages between the two of them, they have to be balanced, right? You can't be like, oh, I'm in my 90% healthy feminine and 10% masculine. No one's ever 50-50, but you have to kind of strive to balance the two. You know, you have to strive to embrace the intuitive and then also have the structure around it and the foundation to support it. But that said, the spirit of this reading is all about keeping your side of the street clean, right? During this time of transition, you are to be healing, but you're gonna be healing with accountability. You really have to, and there's something about this where it's like, do the rest of the shadow work, you know, journal about it, pull cards around it, grab your pendulum and knock out some stuff with your spirit guides. Whatever it is that you need to do, is like there's something that is almost like, it's like you've spring cleaned, you know, for the past 16 years, but there's like cobwebs when you look up, and it's those cobwebs are going to be the things that hold you back there. You'll be like walking around, like wrapping your head up in them. It's like that kind of an image. But that was what came to me this morning, was like heal, do the rest of the work to heal your toxic or shadow divine feminine. Happy second full moon in Cap, y'all, and have a good weekend.